Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the law of attraction, manifesting success stories show comes in. If you are ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and I am back with Kate for another amazing interview, which I'm so excited about.
Me too.
I love it. Well, first, I want to know, how's your future self been showing up?
Oh, she's been showing up calm and patient, peaceful, and happy.
I love it. And what awesome things are happening because of that?
Oh my God. How much longer do we have on this? Because I could go an hour.
Yes.
So many good things happening here. Do you want my total first, or should I just?
Yeah, let's do the total. Okay, you want the drum roll?
I love giving. Yes. I can't say it after you do that. It just makes me laugh. That's awesome. Oh, it was $138,000, 923. Oh, I said that wrong.
Wait, 923. Wait, no.
I was going to say cents, but it's right. So $138,923.28.
Woo!
That includes the penny that I found yesterday when you were with me.
At Whole Foods, where Kate had to contain herself to know.
It was so hard to contain myself. It's such an instinct. It's so funny. Even when I'm walking by myself on my walks and and any cars that drive by are probably like, what is going on?
Yes, I love it.
It's so funny. So how is that? All the good stuff that's happening because of that. So, I kind of put it under the umbrella of it's happening because now we moved into the house. We're not quite done, but we're in the house. We've closed on it. We're there less than a month. It's amazing. And so we're there, which is cool. I'm just going to brush on them and then we can dive into them if you want, but I got to see you 3 times in a week.
And that was awesome.
That was awesome in person. And then also, I feel like, and I want to dive into that more, obviously, because I feel like I've manifested you being here. And then just the fact of slowing down with my online program was something that felt good. And just so many juicy things. Being an equal with some of the people that are in the field that I'm in has been amazing as well. And being able to interview them and just interacting with them has just been great. Less stress, like most things that would cause stress for me are not stressful and just super exciting.
Right? Like moving and
all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't know where you want to dive into, but there's just a lot of stuff going on and it's exciting. And the fact that you and I are talking about some things that I want to do. I'm going to be out in Colorado in September. I've already committed to that. That's happening. I haven't done anything about it, but it's happening. So I'm going.
Right. Yeah.
I've committed to it. Yeah. So, and I just, all of this stuff has just been so exciting. And the fact that I can actually kind of remove myself and step back and say, oh my gosh, this is definitely my future self and becoming my future self, because I would have handled a lot of things that happened differently. Mm-hmm. And so that's exciting to see too.
Yeah. It is so exciting. Well, do you want to start with seeing me? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I love that. So I belong to a mastermind group and we've been doing this for quite some time. And I said once a month, we do a monthly topic. And I asked you if you would be willing to take my month and talk to my group about manifesting, because I wanted to create that like-mindedness in that group, because I'm constantly, working on my future self and being my future self and stepping into my future self, I want to surround myself with that. And I can do that here at the Wellness Center where my office is at. I want to do it in all aspects of my life. I can do it at home, with my husband. and I can do it with some of my friends. And so I wanted to do it with this mastermind group. And it was so awesome that you got back to me and said, well, why don't we just do it in person? I'm going to be there. And I was like, wow, that is even better. That was exciting. And I was like, yes, let's do it. And so you were coming here for some other things, personal stuff. And we ended up doing that. But you also ended up talking to my group of women here at the center about investing. And that's been fun too, because now they're looking for money and we're all sharing what we're finding. And so it's creating that I'm surrounding myself with that more and more, and it's helped, it's created that. And even having you here has even enhanced that with the group, which has been really cool.
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. And then I got to see you got to see my new house, and we went out to breakfast and
saw the farm, like saw where you always go, which was amazing. Yeah.
Always amazing.
Breakfast. Yeah. What's interesting is you were talking, because you had said, I don't know, there was just something, because you were like, oh, do you want to speak at the center? And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds great. And just on the back side of that, like, the ticket could be changed. That was no big deal. But there was a couple other things that had to fall into place for that to work, which did, and was awesome. It was just like, oh yeah, I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, we'll change this. All this works out great. And so that's cool too, is that, I don't know, just for people to hear that, when you say yes and you're like open, everything falls into place. Like,
Mm-hmm. It sure does. And it was Father's Day weekend, and a lot of schools were coming to an end, and a lot of stuff like that going on. And the turnout that we got was awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I was just like, wow, this is amazing. And to be surrounded by people with that energy is just, that makes me excited for September when you guys do your live, because that's, to me, is I want to surround myself with that and be that in that energy as much as I can.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's what I was just about to say. Yeah. Jenny said something to me like, oh yeah, that's your future self. You go where your clients are, and like you speak and do things with their people, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's so cool.
Yeah. It was so
So
fun.
it's definitely both of our future selves.
Definitely. Yeah. And that's what I always like. And I want to credit you for asking, because like you were okay if I said no, because Kate's mastermind meets on Tuesdays, which is my current day off. And it meets at 9:00 Eastern time, which is 7:00 in Colorado. And I do not usually work before 10.
That's right.
And, you're like, if it's a no, it's okay. And I'm like, let's feel it out. Like, I'm not, and if it would have been an immediate no, I would have said no. But it was like, no, I think this could be fun. And then you sent the dates, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to be here on this date. Just do that,
It was perfect. I forgot about that, because I remember saying that too. I know this is your day off, and I know it's early. That's right. I do remember that now. And it did. It worked out great. It was just awesome how it all fell into place. And the fact that you were coming on a night when most of the providers could be here and come to the workshop as well, because it was spaced out. That was a Thursday night, and then the following Tuesday is when we did the mastermind. So everything just kind of, you're right. When you say yes, it just falls into place.
It does. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it lines up perfectly. And so super fun. And the other point I wanted to make is, generally in some aspect or another, when you're being your future self, or when you ask the things, when you, and I think this fits into another one of your, like, it's happening, like putting yourself in that circle, is like when you do those things, you are always opening up other opportunities for other people to step into their future selves, right?
Absolutely.
So just saying that, you're opening up the opportunity for your mastermind. You're opening up the opportunity for you to connect more on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Enchanted Circle is all virtual, which is fun, and you want that more in your day-to-day life, which is awesome too. So you're giving yourself that gift, but you're also giving your gift to, like, your mastermind yesterday got a real good glimpse into their future selves, or at least, more than they've ever seen before,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even the gentleman that was in there, and he didn't have any law of experience any law of attraction experience, I saw him today and he was like, that was amazing. I gave him your books. So
Yeah.
I said, these are for you to keep and to start working on. I said, we got a lot of homework we're going to be doing. He goes, yeah. So it was really cool for him to really get a glimpse of that and to start moving in that direction for him too. Cause yeah, it's going to benefit me too, but it's also going to benefit him. And I love seeing my friends grow and I love seeing my friends, succeed. And so it's just going to be a win-win for all of us.
Absolutely. Right. And,
Yeah.
and we say that a lot. When we be our future selves, we give other people permission to start to come up and be their future selves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be fun to see that unfold.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yep. Me too.
Very cool. So let's continue with It's Happening. You've been interviewing some amazing people for your own podcast.
Yes, absolutely. Can I say their names here? Am I allowed to say that? Okay.
Yeah. And say your
Um,
podcast name.
Okay. It's a K8 for Wellness podcast. And I've been interviewing a lot of practitioners and a lot of thought leaders that are on the same path not the same path, but the same belief systems that I have, because I'm all about bringing that information to my clients. And it's nice for them to hear it from someone else too, because maybe that person can explain it better than me and that they, kind of absorb better, or they say that the same thing that I do, but just reiterates what we're working on, kind of thing. And for those future, clients, paying clients, I like to say, like you teach us, those future paying clients are hearing that and they're like, oh, okay. So, this is working for her clients. I'm going to sign up for her, that kind of stuff. So I'm also looking for the future stuff, not just the current. And so it's just great talking to these people. And Elle Russ was one of them. And she wrote the Paleo Thyroid Solution. And it was great talking with her. And we spent 2.5 hours talking. And it was just amazing being in her energy too, because she's huge with law of attraction as well. So that was fun to talk to her about with that. But it's definitely congruent with everything that I teach my clients. And she's on that same path that I am with that health wise. And so it was just really interesting to be able to be in that energy and being seen as an equal. And she treated me as an equal, which was even better, she's just so, and to be able to have that conversation with her intellectually was great. And so one of my biggest things is wanting to talk at Paleo FX and talking at FitCon, and she's been there, she's done that. So it's just really neat to be a part and being seen as an equal with that. So that to me it's happening. It's going to happen. There's no doubt in my mind it's going to happen. This just solidified it. And it's just more evidence that it is going to happen. So, and it was just great because when we hung up, she instantly sent an email to Brad Kearns and said, I love her. She's like, this is Kate from Badass Kate from New Hampshire is what she said. I don't know if I was supposed to say that. Sorry. She's, and then so he responded that way to me. He's like, hi, Kate, BA from New Hampshire. And so now he's coming on my podcast. And so it's just been amazing these guys are just, like I said, I'm able to have that intellectual conversation with them, and being seen as an equal is just really huge. And it's a lot of validation and just a lot of, I don't even want to say validation because it's not validation. It's more, it's happening. And what's the word I'm looking for? Evidence. That's the word I was looking for. So it's just more evidence for me, which is great.
Yeah. That is great. Okay. I have 2 questions. One is I want to write down evidence because I want to talk about that. Especially in regards to Elle. But so do you think you're at the beginning of the Enchanted Circle, you could have sort of fit in this colleague space, equal space, or do you think it would have been a little more fangirly, I want to be there someday sort of thing?
Yeah, that one, the latter. I think that yes, the dream was there, and then but those words were like, how is that going to happen?
Right. Right. Yeah.
So that was, I would say that's how it was when I first got there. I was like, I wanted to believe it, but now I know I believe it. But yeah, before the Enchanted Circle, it crossed my mind. But there was a little self-doubts that were in there. they're gone. They're not there anymore.
I love it. Well, yeah, because you showed up, I would say, in the interaction, especially with Elle, and you will in your next interview, like as your future self. Like, I don't think you showed up even as the Kate today. I'm guessing you showed up as the Kate 5 years from now, who has spoken at Paleo
Absolutely.
FX, who is this amazing online program, who's doing all these amazing things, right? Because you've
Yep.
learned how to step into her and show up that way.
Absolutely. I totally
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
I'll definitely own that. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm sure you'll remember this when I said it, but I want to go back to evidence, right? We talk a lot about like collect the evidence. We talk about evidence. Evidence means that things are getting closer. It's not that thing. It's happening means it's happening, right? Those things that you want to happen are happening, right?
That's right. That's right.
And so evidence of this was just about a year ago.
It was a year ago.
Right. And I was with
Uh-huh.
Elle and
Yep.
walking on the beach with her when she calls Parks Beach. And I was walking with Elle and we're just hanging out and talking manifesting and love and life and all this stuff. And it was like the day before is the day after, she actually liked something that you had posted on Instagram, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And not just that, actually, to even like what I remember the most about this story was that I was going through one of your workshops and we were learning about my future self. It was my first one.
Yes.
And you had said to me, well, that's already happened. I already know someone that spoke there. And that's when I was like, that's when and what was so cool about it was that I made the connection. That's when I first realized who it was. Cause I said to you, I was like, it wasn't Elle Russ, was it? And you were like, yes. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was so excited because I love Elle Russ. And so it was just funny how that just kind of, you're like, it already happened. You already done that. Cause that was part of what my future self, the very first workshop was about, talking at Paleo FX. And
Yes.
you're like, that's already happened.
It's already happened. And I've been seeing you and Elle in that conversation for a year.
That's awesome. Now that me too, because it was last June when I was in Colorado and I was there for my first future self actually it was a photo shoot.
Yeah.
Photo shoot. And she was texting you when I was there and you're
Yes.
like, guess who I'm texting? And I was like, oh my God, it's Elle Russ. And I knew instantly who it was. It's just great. It's funny. Yes, that was a year ago.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Yeah, that was a year ago. And I do remember that too, like it was yesterday, that conversation that we had. Yeah.
Yeah, which is so awesome. Oh, I think when she liked your thing,
That's what it was.
I didn't even you said it, but you didn't know, like, I think then I was like, oh yeah, I was just with her on the beach or something. And then
That's what it was.
yeah, but it's so fun because this is such a great example of evidence to it's happening.
Right.
And it's why we count all the evidence along the way so that we're fun and we're laughing and remembering like, yeah, that moment and that was awesome. And the evidence is just as fun as it's happening.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was great. Yeah. It's funny because you forget, even though I bet if I were to read through my it's happening stuff, I would have, but it's funny how you do forget. And that's what I love about coaches. And that's why I love doing what I do too, is we remind people the stuff along the way. It's like,
right.
Oh, remember that? Because that stuff is just as exciting.
It is.
It's happening.
Yeah. And it's so fun when you get to it's happening and you're like, oh, here's the whole path. Like that's
yes. That's what I was getting at. The path that it got, that to get you to where you were in that moment is just super fun to look back on and just like, oh my gosh, what about that point? Oh, look at that. Now I see why that's playing out.
Yes.
That's cool. Yeah.
I love it.
Super cool.
Speaking of, so it was your Manifest 10K photo shoot, which I think you were, I don't know if you were, I think you were only at 10K. I don't think it was 20K yet.
No, it wasn't.
It was not. And your first future self cocktails. So what is the biggest difference between that Kate and Kate right now?
Oh, the confidence, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, without a doubt, confidence and more at peace. Definitely more at peace because I find that I'm noticing that piece more and more. I was always, the past year, I've noticed the confidence. And I think the switch happened, I want to say when we were in Arizona, like right about the time for that photo shoot that we did. I've started noticing the more peacefulness. And I think that kind of goes in alignment anyway with my confidence. I just think I've stepped more into the confidence. So now everything's peaceful kind of thing.
Right,
I just never connected. But yeah, I would have to say more at peace definitely than the last one. Absolutely. Big difference.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
That. Yeah. Because it impacts everything in your life, right?
Yeah, it definitely does. Especially, the current stuff that's going on, like the it's happening stuff that I shared with you, like with buying the house, and that is just been no stress. The processes I shared in the last podcast, it happened really quick, and now it happened even faster because now we're in there. We closed in less than a month. We're in there, and I mean, we're not totally settled in, but we're in there. We've got the keys. We're sleeping there.
Yeah.
We might not have all of our stuff there, but we're sleeping there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that isn't stressful to me. I'm still doing the things that matter the most to me, and making those priority. And my biggest thing that I love and that always pops into my head when I'm like, oh, I've got to do that and that. And then I was like, you know what? There's always enough time for everything.
Yes.
And there is. And the things that need to get done will get done. And that is huge for me because in the past, I didn't have that balance. I think it's, we talked about that the last time too. I've created this balance in my life of everything, and it feels great. And when I have that balance, I don't feel stressed. So my future self has balance, and I have balance now.
It's so good. I love it.
It is so good.
Yeah. So many things I want to say and so many questions. About you and your house, because there was actually family members that were like, wait, you're moving? I didn't even know you bought a house, right?
Well, yeah, they found that out on Facebook because I posted a picture. I love my dirt bike. Absolutely love it. She's wicked pretty, isn't she? And the fact that I can ride her on the road, it doesn't have to be on trails, is even more amazing to me, because if I can't, because it's hard here in New Hampshire to do trail riding with your bikes. There's only like certain places, and it's not close to where we live. So if I want to jump on her, I can just ride down the road with her. And we have so many winding roads, as you saw. They're just gorgeous.
So beautiful.
I just jump on, and I was able to do that. I drove her from my old house to the new one, and it was gorgeous out, sunny, and it was just amazing. And so I posted a picture. I was like, I got to drive her to my new house, and that's when everybody, friends, family, my mom, my dad, they're like, wait a minute, what? You bought a house? What? What's going on? So yeah. So I think if I had been stressed, I think everybody would have known, right? That we would put out a house. So it was just
it was like, this is what's happening. That you made me think of me, because I will often buy a house and somebody's like, oh, you bought a house? I'm like, yeah. Oh yeah. Like I'm this, like whatever.
Yes, he's always buying houses.
Right? Always buying houses, always moving. Yeah. And it's like, but it's that stress, right? Like when it's this big deal and it's this big thing, and like when you're stressed about the waiting process and all the processes that go with it, everybody knows. But when it's like so streamlined, it's like, oh yeah, because we're moving because it's so it's so your future self.
Yeah. And more of that's happening, like even what happened yesterday, and that situation could have gone just as stressful. And that to me was the biggest learning experience, was how I handled that. And I think that was the first thing I said to you when we talked about, well, let's back up. So everyone knows that my truck is my baby. I love my truck and absolutely love it. And I hit a deer with it yesterday, and I was really sad about the deer. And then I got out and I saw my truck, and I was really sad about my truck too. So, but being able to, I think I was probably maybe 20 minutes away from where I was going. I was going to go surfing because I love going surfing. And the fact that I didn't turn around, go home and let it ruin my day, I still went to the beach, even though there was no waves. I still went to the beach, watched the sunrise, hung out with some friends, had amazing coffee before I saw you, so I'm like, how much better can a day start? I mean, that's freaking amazing.
That's freaking amazing.
I was like, man, I could have let that ruin my whole day, and I didn't. And, it was just amazing that I said to myself when that happened, because I got out and I looked at my truck and I was like, oh, instant, like it was gone. Like at first I started to panic and then it was gone, because I said to myself, like, who do I most want to be in this situation? And I was like, how can I be that way? And it was like, oh, I still want to be calm. I still want to be peaceful. And it's a choice. And that's what I chose to do. And so I drove to the beach. I got to watch the sunrise. I got to hang out with some friends. And I mean, it was 4:30 in the morning. It's not like I could have taken care of it anyway. It's not like I could have called the insurance company. But yeah, it was, and I didn't give it any energy here. I mean, the old me I would have been angry. I would have been, gone home. I'd have been like, screw this. I'm not doing, it would have just been an awful day. And it wasn't. It was one of the best days ever. I even got a client that signed up for me, that paid up front. You talked to my last month, it was just like one thing after another all day long. It was awesome. And that's only because I feel that I stepped into my future self and I chose to be that person, and I chose for me to feel that way when it could have just gone the opposite direction.
Yes. Right. So much. I love that you're sharing this, because I think so many people have this opinion, like, oh, if I'm a really good manifester, like this kind of thing doesn't happen. And it's not true. Like, this is just part of life. It's like, it's just things like we bump into things, right? We bump into other things that we can make it a big deal, or we can be our future selves and stay in who we are and still go on to have a really amazing day.
Yeah. And I literally bumped into something, but yes, I know what you mean.
Right? Yeah. And that's,
And I think, that's kind of like what I think we talk about with our schedules, and I call it perceived stress. I call it perceived, because we have the ability to change that.
Yeah.
And that's right. You're right. It's just choosing, and that's what I chose. And I'm glad I did, because it was amazing yesterday. It was an awesome day. And we went shopping afterwards, and later in the evening, we got stuff for our closets, more stuff for us to do to get settled into the house, so it was just like all amazing. And it's funny, I was saying today, this is this whole week, actually, since last Friday, I have not been to bed before 11 o'clock. And normally I'm in bed at 8:30 every night. And I don't feel tired. And a lot of the women around here are like, you're just glowing. You're just, I was like, I know, this is just all amazing stuff that's going on in my life,
Yeah. It's all happening.
It's all happening.
I love it. Any advice on like how to get to it's happening?
You have to do the work. I can't express that enough. You have to do the work. So doing the work is huge, because I think, I know, because I've been there and I'm doing it. You have to become the person to be able to get what it is you want, or to be the person that you want to be. You have to do the work to get there. And I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but I love the analogy that you use when you talk about the lottery. And so often when people win the lottery, they're worse off before they won the lottery. And a lot of it is because they haven't become the person to be able to have that amount of money. And I feel that that's not just related to money, that's everything in our life. So you have to do the work to get there, to be able to have, the calm, the confidence, all of that. So you can't just expect to, I think most people think, if I'm going to manifest something, it's going to happen. It's just going to show up and not do the work. So you got to do the work. And even if it's a minute, even if it's 2 minutes a day, as long as you're doing something that steps towards what it is you're trying to manifest, it's going to happen.
Yes. Oh, I couldn't have said it better. You have to do the work.
You have to. And I love the work. And it helps. It helps through the bumps that you have. It helps with, even though in the moment, sometimes for some people, and I'm one of those, that it doesn't feel good, you still do it. And it gets you past the bump faster.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And I think that's a great place to complete this interview. You have to do the work. And when you do the work, like Kate it happens. It all starts happening really fast, right? In the beginning, it's, we're looking for evidence and we're seeing, okay, this is coming. And then when it starts happening, it just starts happening really fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And and you think about it, like when you just said that, it was a lot of ahas there as far as it's happening. It happens really fast. It does. Like I was just, it felt like all these interviews happened really fast, and the house, everything has been fast and easy. I have to just say easy too, because
Yes.
throw that word in too.
Yeah. Fast and easy. Yes.
Fast and easy. No pushback, no hassle. Yeah, it's awesome.
It is awesome. I love it. So tell everybody how they could find your podcast and if your website, if they want to connect with you.
Yes, thank you. I am on iTunes, and it's on my website as well, if you don't listen to iTunes. But it is K8 for Wellness Podcast. That's the letter K, the number 8, the number 4, Wellness Podcast. And then you can also go to my website, which is the same, www.k8forwellness.com, and you can go there and, learn about my story, and the podcast is there as well. And I have a couple interviews that I did on that first page, which were really fun interviews. So if you're interested in knowing what I do, those interviews share that too. So those were really fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kate, for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
So much. And thank you all for listening. Make sure to come back and check out the next episode that Kate is doing, so we can hear all the awesome in her life. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for joining us on the Law of Attraction Manifesting Success Stories show. To learn more about enrolling in the Enchanted Circle, go to cassieparks.com.